Welcome to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and every week we bring you news and information hopefully you can use on your real estate transactions. This week, we are going to be talking about several different things. We are going to be talking about some safety issues. You definitely want to stick around for that. First segment, though, I want to talk about something that you're probably all very familiar with, and that is property management. Before we get started on that, though, I do want to give you our call-in number. So if you've got a real estate question, you can just give us a call over here at the studio, 281-882-8088. 281-882-8088. You can call us 24/7 with your questions. We'll play them right here on the air and give you answers back to your real estate questions. So I've got Pam Bailey on the line. She's calling into our studio, and she is the CEO of Chaparell Management. They're a property management company. Pam's been doing this for a long time. She's dealt with a lot of neighborhood issues, and I know most of you out there live in neighborhoods, and you've got property management companies you deal with, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. What do they do? What are they supposed to be doing? How do they help you, the residents of the neighborhood? So welcome to the show, Pam.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
So I know you guys are busy over there at Chaparell. You have a lot going on. Tell me this. How should homeowners associations, which are made up of your board members from your community, how should they be choosing a management company for the neighborhood?
Well, just like anything else you shop for, you need to know what you want, you need to know what you need, and you need to know what you can afford. Mm-hmm. So it's very much like a car. We all have engines and we all have steering wheels, but it's about the level of service that we give. So you need to know the needs of the residents and how involved the residents are going to be before you decide what your management company needs to do.
Do you find, though, that based on the management, this has kind of been my experience, depending on the management company and the leadership in the community, the board for the community, you're going to get a different level of participation. So like me, for example, I live in a neighborhood where when I first moved there was tons of stuff going on, lots of activities, lots of people involved. Now, 10 years later, there's a lot less going on and a lot less involvement, and there's just not, it's not as, and the neighborhoods evolve, they change, the age level of kids change, and, depending on the economy, things can change. I mean, a lot of things can change. So,
well, when people ask me what I do for a living, I say that I manage the lifestyle of a community, and the lifestyle of the community is just that. When you moved in, the community was young, everybody wanted to be involved, everybody was willing to volunteer, and as the kids get older and mom and dad's schedules get busier, mm-hmm. their volunteer efforts go in different directions for sports and things. So right. Sometimes the community suffers, and so what you have to watch for is those people that want to run for the board of directors and make sure, if you're a resident and a homeowner, that you make sure those people that are representing you represent the needs of your community and what you want to see your community do, and that they don't have some single purpose agenda. But the challenge most communities have is really the resident who buys in a community and has the lack of knowledge about what they bought. They don't know who governs the association. They don't understand what their responsibilities are. They don't understand what the assessments are for. So they don't want to get involved, and they really don't understand that they've moved into a community association. And so for that, management companies are really essential in the education and leadership of the community mm-hmm. to make sure, okay, you don't want to volunteer, but you have some responsibilities to the association, and we have responsibilities to you as a homeowner.
So what are the services that an HOA should be providing to a community?
Well, it depends on the governing documents for the association. So when the community is dirt and the developer says, "Okay, I'm going to make this a neighborhood," he dictates what those services are in those governing documents. So it can be anything from operating the amenities area, which might include a pool and tennis courts. In some communities, it's a golf course and an equestrian center. It might include lakes. Just depends on what the amenities are. But the really important component of an association is the deed restrictions. And the deed restrictions in the unincorporated areas of the counties are the only protection that people have for their property values. So, you're going to do right, but how do we protect you from the guy next door who wants to turn his trailer upside down in his front yard and, be the Duck Dynasty guy.
Right. So let me ask you about this, though, because most of the neighborhoods, I sell real estate. I deal with a lot of different neighborhoods. Most of them have a management company over the HOA board or a company who's managing all of that for the board. Do you think it's a good idea to ever have an HOA managing the community themselves, or do you think they always should have a management company? Does it just depend on who the residents are and what kind of lifestyle they want to have?
Well, it depends a lot on the size of the community. Tiny little communities don't have a lot of revenue, so they don't have the ability to have professional services. Mm-hmm. But, self-serving as this is going to sound, I believe that every association needs to have professional management. Mm-hmm. There are many, many chapters of the Texas Property Code that affect associations.
Yes, there are.
In 2011, the legislature had 140 bills that affected HOAs. Yep. And so, the average volunteer isn't going to be able to keep up with all that.
That's right.
So when you bring professionalism to the table, just like when you hire your attorney or your CPA to help your association, mm-hmm. the management company will help make sure that the board makes good, informed, educated decisions. And just for clarification, management company is absolutely not over the board. Management company is just one of the team members in the management team for that community. It's the board, it's the management company, and it's all the residents working together to make that community a community.
Well, what happens when you have a board member that should not be a board member? I know that makes your job tough, and you're trying to bring that level of professionalism. You're trying to give them good advice. And they don't listen. They have no experience being on a board. They're a retired wherever they came from, retired mailman, whatever they did, they weren't in a leadership position, and now they're in this position, and they don't know how to lead, they don't know how to take care of things, they don't know where to get resources from. What do you do when that happens? Because they could be in a 2-year term.
Well, they could be in a 5-year term, but one of the key components of our operation is education. So we do board member training, where the board members find they have to attend training about what their role entails. Mm-hmm. We do continuing education with our board members so that when the legislature passed 19 new laws that affected HOAs, we set all the boards down and had an education opportunity for everybody to understand their role. So much of what we do is about education. But, you always, and I have to say, we have more than 70 associations and have been around since 1985. Mm-hmm. You do get a board member who has no business being a board member, but generally 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 7, the other board members make sure that board member, gets the education and understands the limitations of their role.
Well, the worst thing is when you have 2 of them that are uneducated and can't and don't work well with the others. So now you've got, the board is divided. That's hard. That's very hard.
Well, anytime you're dealing with people, you run the risk of challenging personalities, and so that's why professional leadership is so important, because we're skilled in helping those people get to the resolution and making mm-hmm. sure that there aren't any single-purpose agendas going on.
And the bottom line is, if the people in the neighborhood are getting their needs met, they're not going to be calling and bothering you, right?
If the people in the neighborhood are happy, the world is happy.
That's right. That's exactly right. So that to me, that's why I don't understand when there are boards out there who are not working for the people in the neighborhood. It's like, wow, your life would be so much better if you would just do what the people in the neighborhood want you to do, because everybody would be happy.
So boards really are just a microcosm of the community, and most of the time the boards are elected to serve a need for the community. And sometimes you get a board member who, gets on the board with a single-purpose agenda, but quickly sees that there's very little discretionary spending for an association. Most of the expenses are mandated by the governing documents, and so they usually burn themselves out pretty quickly, and you end up generally with a board of, my experience, a board of really caring individuals who work for the good of the community.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad that's the overall experience. I'm glad that's what most people have. That's good. Hey, hang on just a second. We've got to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute here on Houston Real Estate Radio. After a quick commercial, we're talking with Pam from Chaparell Management, and we're going to be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio after a word from our sponsors.
RREA Media has an exciting new product available to companies and organizations who are teaching classes and want to offer those classes online. Introducing Easy Distance Learning. Easy Distance Learning is a video-based distance learning system that allows companies and organizations to leverage their existing classroom content into a broader reach and increased revenues. Did you know that the rate of growth of distance learning is 10 times that of classroom education? And 66% of chief academic officers think distance learning is critical to their long-term strategy. Right now, 33% of higher education students are taking at least one online class. Companies and organizations not offering a distance alternative to in-class instruction risk being left behind. Video-based distance learning has three basic components: classroom capture, post-production, and content distribution. Easy Distance Learning is a comprehensive and modular system that covers all three components that can help your organization with what you are missing in offering a quality and convenient online learning experience. You choose the parts you need help with. Easy Distance Learning offers another revenue stream, a broader reach of your existing content, and a professional presentation with a great learner experience. Contact us today for a free estimate and see how Easy Distance Learning can take your company or organization to the next level.